Hey everybody, it's Paige with The Paige Show. We're back today and I want to talk to you about what you were raised on. That sounds like such a crazy question, and I'm, going down the road jamming to my crazy, different, diverse music list. So I basically, my Bluetooth's connected, right? And it's like whatever song is gonna pop off there you go, like turn on, come on, whatever you want to say, is like my theme for that moment and that drive. And so I'm hearing like the country song that comes on today, and it just made me think like the question of what were you raised on? What were you born on, right? Like, and I said to myself, what is that really going to be about? Like, where could we possibly go with that? And then I started to think about how it's tied into belief systems. Like, what were you raised on? And then it's like a literal question too, because I want to know about you guys. You know a lot about me, and you're going to be discovering a lot more. But what are we raised on? And the idea came to me like, oh my God, I was raised on, ham biscuits and biscuits and gravy. I don't know, biscuits kept coming to me. I love biscuits, right? I'm South Carolina born, never gonna take it away from me. As long as I lived in Colorado, I still loved me some biscuits. And so every time I would come back to the Southeast to visit, I could not wait to get the Hardee's steak biscuits. A shout out to Hardee's steak biscuits, because oh my God, if you're a biscuit connoisseur, you know that you want to have one from like Hardee's or somewhere like deep in like a Charleston restaurant where you're gonna have your shrimp and grits on the side. I mean, do you guys hear me? Because if you haven't tried it, a biscuit could save your life. Like, I'm not a doctor, and they're gonna definitely tell me that that's the opposite of the truth, but maybe save your soul would be a better word, because I love me some biscuits. So the first thing that came to me and I started dying laughing about was being raised on like the food that came to me, biscuits. And I remember my grandmother, it's so funny because I had so many grandmother figures in my life, and then these different titles that would, come out at different stages of my life with them. But my granny, as I called her, specifically my mom's mom, would always pick us up from school, and she would always have like an RC Cola and a Goo Goo bar. Like, only the people down south know what I'm talking about right now, but stay with me, the rest of you, because you don't know what you're missing. Like, search it, find it, try some. And so all of that great stuff came to me. And as a medium, it doesn't take a lot for me to then like tap into the energy of my grandma. And then it's like my grandma's in the car with me jamming out to this song. And it just became this like really spiritual experience. So laugh at me because I started off talking about a country song and biscuits. And now we're talking about like my grandma traveling in the car with me. But welcome to my life. You guys should really try it sometime. And so we're cracking up, we, as in my grandmother who's passed, in the car with me, because I'm bringing up all these memories in my head from her. She's, I'm feeling all these connections of the RC Cola and the biscuits and the Goo Goo bars, and then the feeling of her picking me up. And it just goes on all these tangents of like, what were you raised on? And I was raised on that. And then, there's a vegetarian side to things that I could relate to. Like, I am such a complex, like diverse little being of experiences that, spirit has brought me through, from my raising to experiences that I chose on my own. And I thought, what were you guys raised on? It was a great question to think about, because as you start with the first thing that comes to your mind, and mine was like the foods, the comfort of Southern like hospitality. You come in a house and like people want to feed you, and they want to give you their sweet tea, and it sounds so stereotypical right now, but I can say that because I'm from there, and I know because I've had it, and I do it still. And so it's like that then morphs into where did that take me? And what were you raised on? Then versus into all these belief systems about those experiences, and it brings you to a moment now where you're like, how many of those things that I was raised on are still serving me? So, unfortunately, on the biscuit realm of things, here I am broaching 40 and not sad about it whatsoever, but very aware that I can't eat 3 Hardee's biscuits and still fit in my pants the same way. Like, that's the reality. And then, RC Cola and your Goo Goo bars, probably too much sugar, to want to even feed to my children at this point. But you think this is what I was raised on, and you're like, I turned out okay, right? That's one of your ways of thinking. And this is not a talk on diet or food or anything. Trust me, people, not going to do that to you. But what it is a talk about is what no longer serves you. And you start to think about all of these things that you kept with you, that you were raised on, and then some of the things that you realized no longer served you. And I remember, the thoughts of my grandmother then coming into the religious beliefs that I was raised on. And I have a background of multicultural belief systems, multi-religious belief systems, and you're like, one image of a biscuit can take you there. So trust me when I say that, your connection to source is always here. You can get it driving down the road, and a song can bring up a memory, and a memory can take you down the road to all of these things that can come into a very spiritual, philosophical thought pattern that really is a message for you in your life, and maybe something to help you with. And so that's where my talk went today. And it was I went from biscuits to what beliefs no longer serve me. And so I ask you today, what were you raised on? And enjoy the pattern of where that goes with you, and then say to yourself, where did that bring me? What did I need to hear from that? Because it's probably going to come back to a belief system, and the whole idea of what you were raised on not really being always 100% what will serve you best forever. But there's that other piece where along the way and discovering things is that a lot of times we circle back in a place of trauma or stress or just pure timing in life to the things that we were raised on. And so, me getting to live out west for a long time where I, was definitely less sugar, and there was no worthy biscuit out there, and you had a different change in your physical lifestyle that serves you well. But then you come home now, in our case, being moved back across the country. A lot of you who have followed me know that last year brought a lot of changes for me and my family, and now becoming part of the Southeast again, being gone almost as long as I was here, you start to see those comforts come back in a way that does serve you. And it's not just the biscuit itself, but it's all of the things that's attached to the biscuit that you don't know unless you go down this crazy thought pattern path that I just talked about. But then you see, okay, the biscuit really brought out this need and this desire and this want, and it feeds this and that, and then you discover what the real message was. And so spirit and our loved ones and our communion with God, it comes in the ways that we understand it best. Apparently for me, it's through a country song and the idea of a biscuit. But for you, it can be whatever. So I just encourage you to think on the question, what were you raised on, and see what path that takes you down, and then get your beautiful message from it.